All right, here we are. This is the tutorial on how to make a headset kit. This is the kit that I'm offering now. This is a new version of the headset. Comes in white resin or black resin. We can do. You can make it look like the white one from Alien and Star Wars, or it can also be modified and painted to look like the one from Aliens. It comes in this kit with the two earpieces, the main body, which has a little hole for a wire and for the mic. This is the ear boom, I guess, or the piece that goes in your ear. The mic tip, which usually is black, I think in all kits. The clip that'll go on the side there to decide which side is facing out. You get the little foam to go on your earpieces so that it doesn't rub up against your head. You don't really need it, but it's there. A little mic boom and 4 screws, 2 pan head and 2 flat head. So those will be for 2 different things, which I'll show you in the build. It's also going to come with the actual headset piece that goes over the top of your head and a big piece of wire. A nice silicone wire. It's nice and loose and flexible, which is better than the old stuff I used to use. First, of course, you're going to wash all the parts in soapy water to get any mold release off them, and then work on a little sanding on the edges. Anything that's got a little seam on it, you can give a little sanding to get nice and smooth, to get them ready for assembly. I'm going to prime it. You can do this in a different order. You can build the kit first and then paint it, or here I'm painting it first and then assembling it. It works either way. So a white primer as the base for a white kit, and then a little black on the clip and the mic tip. All the versions, the Star Wars version and the Aliens version, the mic tip is black, because in the actual piece it's rubber. So a little clear coat to seal it up, to get it all ready. So since the mic tip was rubber in all the pieces, they didn't paint it, because I don't think it would have taken paint. This is a liquid chrome from Molito that's really good for making things shiny. You can use silver paint. You could use a silver Sharpie. It's not really going to make too much of a difference for this little piece. It's a little tough to do with one hand while I'm holding the camera. The mic boom is gray, and if you're going to do an Alien version without the mic tip, you're going to want to tape off that one little part on the tip, because the tip is silver. It has a little silver cap on it on the original piece. So we're going to simulate that with a little piece of tape there. And then paint the rest of it gray. And then for assembling, here we go. We've got setting up a very long scene. Little drill bits getting ready here. We're going to drill the big hole for the ear arm to go into. Don't drill up too far. Don't want to stab yourself in the finger. And I got this really well, where it was the right size drill bit, so it actually was stiff enough that I could spin it in there and it wouldn't fall out, but I still glue it in anyway. But this will help you decide if you want it facing your left ear or your right ear, which is something different than the old kits that I used to do. Those ones couldn't be reversed left or right. This one can. So a little drop of crazy glue, super glue, CA glue. I'm using Gorilla Glue here. I love the Gorilla Super Glue. And then a little drill bit for the wire. I think that's a 3/16. Don't hold me on it. Just check the wire. 12 gauge wire, so it should fit right in there. Just a little bit of glue, and you'll get that right in there. My dog is attacking me as I'm recording this, and you can hear her growling in the background. I don't know. Maybe you can. There you go. A little wire. And next up, we're going to drill some holes, a little hole into the mic tip, for the mic boom. That's a 1/8. And that guy goes in there. I don't usually glue those in. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes you want it to flex around. It all depends on how snug you can get that. If you wiggle the drill bit around, then maybe it'll be a little too loose, but otherwise you should be able to do this without having to glue it. But you can glue it if you're just going to display it, or if you get it set up on your head to the perfect spot that you like it and you don't want it to move, you can always drop some glue in. Otherwise, you can leave it moving like that. And next up, we're going to work on the ear pieces. So those will go over, they'll overlap on the outside. So they're very small drill bits. I forget what I use, maybe a 30-second, something like that. Check it, just to check it against the screws. So a little tiny hole in the tips there. Don't put your finger on the other side and drill into your finger, as I did in that other shot, as you saw. That was always fun. And then we're going to drop in drill the other hole there. in those little ear booms. And again, you can do all this prior to painting. You can just assemble all this and then paint it up. It's not really much of a difference. The only thing I would do is not attach the mic tip or the mic boom and the mic tip to the piece, because you just paint those separately. But everything else, the body, the ear, arm, the actual headset part, and the little ear arms, those are all going to be the same color. So you can always assemble them first and then paint them after. So starting off those screws to get them going, and then dropping them into the little ear plates. You can also put a little drop of glue behind that as well, just to make sure they don't wiggle around too much, because they should basically stay perpendicular. Helps if I keep it all in frame, but there's a little drop of glue just to hold it. I could definitely have edited this video better and it'd be a lot shorter, but it's practically in real time now. And then that guy goes to the front. My dog is playing with a toy now. It goes way to the front of the thing. You'd think it would be sitting centered, but it's not. It's way to the front of the boom, like all the way forward on that little arm right there. And so we're going to line that up where it goes. There's a little lip on that main body piece that it rests on, you'll see. And again, this can be done on the left side or the right side, depending on how you want to wear it. That little piece should just barely peek out. And then we're going to drill 2 holes in the ear arm, the ear plate rather, whatever I call it in the video. Again, watch your fingers. And don't drill all the way through the main body, just enough to mark it. Make your 2 holes. Make sure you don't lose it. Yeah, definitely could do with some editing on this video, but this is where we are. And then we're going to use this to countersink the screws. So we're going to open up the hole right here. These are fantastic tools. If you don't have these in your prop building arsenal, get them. They're drill bits that literally just kind of open up the outside of the hole so that when you put a screw in, it'll lay flat. They're really great. They come in different sizes. I use them all the time. You don't have to. You could always go and use a larger drill bit and do the same effect, but I find these are better because they won't go all the way through. And then we're going to just line up those screws, get them all set up. Score everything up. If you're gluing a piece, make sure you score it up a little bit on both parts to give the glue something to bite into, especially if it's pre-painted. And then get a little glue on there, a little super glue, and then drop the screws in, and that should hold really well. And the screws will be flush so that you don't have to worry about it rubbing against the sides of your head, especially once you put the foam on. You're going to have the foam anyway blocking it, but there you go. So make sure that piece fits. And then get yourself press that on nicely. Get a scissor. And trim it to fit. You can always lay it down on the piece, mark where it lays, cut the pad first, and then peel it off and do it that way. That works just as well. And I, for some reason, always end up doing it backwards, so I just go with this technique. And same for the other side. And again, you don't really need these. I'm trying to remember if the originals have a piece of padding at all. I don't know if they do. I think they're just pressed against your head, probably. It was the 70s when these things came out. They didn't really care. But I'd like to put a little padding on there, especially if you're going to be wearing it at a convention, walking around all day. A little padding is always nice. A little wash. For the white headset, I use a white wash. If you're painting it for aliens and you're going to go green or brown bess, then you probably want to use a black wash. If you don't have this wash, a wash is really just any paint that's thinned down to be very watery. You can do it with an acrylic. You could do it with an enamel, but it's not as easy. Any acrylic paint with water, enough water will become a wash. So you just cover it on there. You can go gently or lightly, or you can go crazy like I usually do. Yes, thank you. Give it a few seconds and then just wipe off the excess. You can give it, if you let it dry longer, it'll be dirtier looking. I wasn't really going for a too crazy dirty look. Another bit of detailing at the end of that arm where the mic boom attaches to the main body, you could paint that little tip silver. I think that's how it was on the originals, if you're really going for hyper detail. And in this kit, I've skipped the little ear bulb. There used to be a little piece that would go on the end of that ear arm and actually sit in your ear. I used to include those in the kit. I've stopped because you would never want it because it was hard resin and it would not be comfortable in your ear. The originals would have been rubber. So now it's just flat. If you want one, ask. I'll send you it. But I mean, I have them, but they're useless for this. And there you go, a little wash on there, get it all nice and dirty and grungy. And then that little clip, it's going to go on the outside. I'm just going to do that with a little glue, but you could always throw a little screw on there if you really wanted to, but you don't have to. I don't think it's really going to be supporting anything. Nothing's really holding it, so it should be okay with just a little glue. And on the Aliens version, it would be painted the same color as the rest of the kit. And there you go. That's the kit. All done. Again, this is like a, literally almost in real time. Like a 20-minute build to make this. Just paint drying is the only thing you're going to be waiting on. So there's the Aliens version. And I do OD green. I don't do brown bess. So this will do Star Wars, like the Millennium Falcon Han Solo style. It'll do Alien, or it'll do Aliens. And that's what the kit comes with, the resin bits and some extra parts in white or black. And I think in my Etsy store, I offer it as whatever. I don't care what color it is since you're painting it anyway. And you can always come to Etsy and grab it, or grab it at spatcave.com/store.